All right, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but we're back, and today we're going to talk about why some products feel like magic, even though they solve like a really gnarly problem in your life. Hey there, I'm John Dial, and I'm here to help you be a better designer. Let's jump into this topic. So, why is it that some products and some experiences feel so much like magic? Well, I believe it has a lot to do with simplicity, and here's why. Because when we have a gnarly problem or something that's really difficult in our life that we're trying to get over, and a small, elegant, and an easily understood solution comes in, it brings a resolution that just is very satisfying. And I'm not the only one who thinks this way. I want to start with a quote from Steve Jobs. He says this: "Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. But it's worth it, because in the end, you get there and you can move mountains." Steve Jobs gets the idea of simplicity, and you can see that in the many products that Apple produced. These products that Apple produces are insanely complex, but yet what we experience on our end is actually very, very simple. If you think about all the hardware and the processor and the Bluetooth connections and all of the interconnectedness of all of these components on an iPad or an iPhone, it is dauntingly complex. But what we actually experience is something very simple and very easy to use. So why is that? How is it that this works? Well, it works because of the idea of the burden of complexity. So what is the burden of complexity? Well, complexity is always around us. It's always in the products and the experiences that we create as designers. But it's our job to take on that burden of complexity, to work at it, to reduce it as much as possible, and then to hide that complexity in what we're doing. We make product experiences perceived as simple because of the great work that we do in the user interfaces and the various other components that we design. So there's two other people I want to bring into the conversation though. Steve Jobs isn't the only one who recognizes this. Another person named William Lidwell has also done a lot of great research on what makes great designers. And his very first heuristic is called elegant simplicity over conspicuous featureism. And really, let's just boil that down. What that actually means in his terms is that you can actually advance a user's experience by making it more advanced. Now, in Lidwell's terms, as you advance a product experience or user's experience, you are actually reducing what is experienced. You're actually making it more simple. So the concept of advancing an experience is actually simplifying the experience of that product. And Lidwell has looked at a bunch of different designers across the industry, from Dieter Rams to Leonardo da Vinci and other people in the industrial design industry as well. But the fun doesn't stop there. You see, there's actually a psychological principle that goes along with this as well. And John Jablonski, in his book, The Laws of UX, brings up the idea of Hick's Law. And Hick's Law basically states the time it takes to make a decision increases with the complexity and the number of choices. Now, as designers, we could take this in and start thinking about, all right, so how do we represent these complex flows or these complex experiences? How do we solve these gnarly problems in people's lives with very elegant, simple, and reductionistic approach to what they're going to build? So as product and UX designers, we can start asking the question about how we take these gnarly problems in people's lives and simplify an experience so that they can actually bring some level of pleasing resolution to that problem. And there's a couple things that we can do just on the outset. First of all is to cut. Whenever you're looking at building a product experience for somebody, you can slow down and ask the very minimum amount of work, the very minimum amount of product that you can provide to somebody to begin relieving that pain and begin solving that problem in their life. If it's optional, cut it. And then you do some testing to figure out whether or not that's actually satisfactory enough to get you to that next step of resolution for them. You can also take a very simplistic approach in representing that experience. So not only in the features and what you're designing, what you can also do is find elegant and simple ways of representing that interface or representing the human's experience in that. So in the visual representation, then you can actually reduce the amount of information you're presenting. So rather than using a gradient, perhaps you could consider a flat color, or rather than a very detailed icon with lots of illustration in it, you could go a very simple glyph that has just a few lines, so it reduces the amount of visual information that somebody has to process. Additionally, in the user interface, you can consider healthy spacing between options and chunking information with clear groupings so that there's a hierarchy that people can easily follow as they look at your product experience. And lastly, when you've done the hard work to really try and boil down the essence of what the solution is, and you still have a complex experience in the end, you can find clever ways of breaking these pieces out and taking the complex experience and breaking them into smaller, simpler experiences so that the perception from the customer or the user is that it's actually very simple and elegant. And that's where the magic starts to come in. Because when you take something that's very gnarly and difficult to understand, and it's a problem that's painful for somebody, and you can provide a perceived experience that is very elegant and simple, you've actually begun to level up their quality of life. You can actually introduce change into their life in a way that's amazing and wonderful. So that's it. That's the idea of simplicity, is that we have gnarly problems and you can produce simple, elegant solutions that might actually have a ton of complexity in them, but you've done the work to try to simplify it and take that burden of complexity off of the customer and put it on yourself and provide them with an elegant, wonderful experience. You've done the hard work of actually taking that complex solution and boiling it down and synthesizing it until it's something that's very simple and perceived as easy to use. As you're thinking about your design work this week, find clever ways of taking that burden of complexity on yourself and really advocate for the user in that way. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe because there's always more video content coming out. If you're interested in learning more about design, you can check out this video here or this video here. And I'll be sure to link up some of the resources and quotes that I mentioned in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. I've appreciated everyone's support and comments and subscribes. It means the world to me that I'm able to give back to you and help you be a better designer. Go make something awesome today.